The Dakar 2000 under threat of terrorist attack. Racing is halted in Niamey as the route is reviewed. Today's race itself, a gentlemanly affair on two wheels. The leaders, that is, big names going down though. And on four wheels, Sousa shines as Schlesser and Peder Hansel do battle. Progress of the Paris-Dakar-Cairo 2000 was halted at Niamey in Niger today after a warning of terrorist attack was issued by the French Foreign Ministry. Race director Hubert Auriol immediately ordered that the race be halted at today's finish line, while the potentially hazardous route through Niger is reassessed. In a brief press statement, organisers made clear that the safety of competitors and everyone else involved in this year's race is of paramount concern. This is Roger Kalmanovitz of TSO, the organisers. He says, we received an intelligence warning of a terrorist threat to the rally. The group concerned is not known to us. We do know that the group is not one from this country, it's from outside Niger. And we're considering the viability of a large airlift from here in Niamey to Libya. Will enable, as he said, to continue the rally all the way to Cairo. Well, if there is not sufficient air support, we will be obliged, he said, to cancel the event, which would be sad indeed. Security stepped up at the airport today around the bivouac where all the competitors, their backup teams and the TV crews, of course, are based today. Well, an atmosphere not of tension, but of almost disbelief, really, that such a thing could possibly come to pass. Everyone's hope, of course, is that the Dakar rally continues. Tourism Minister of Nigeria, or Niger, I beg your pardon, saying he hopes that everything will be resolved soon. On a happier note, all the Dakar personnel, their warmth and enthusiasm for the event, a pleasure to behold. It's what the Dakar rally was always meant to be about.
Allez, ça se rapproche, c'est bon, allez. Vas-y, saute, c'est bon. Allez, jette le klaxon maintenant. Jette le klaxon. Allez, saute, c'est bon. Vas-y, il va se pousser. Il va se pousser, cet enculé, il va se pousser. Allez, fonce. Allez, c'est bon, c'est parfait. Il s'est pas gardé.
And so to stage 6 out of Burkina Faso, bound for Niger, Ouagadougou the departure point, aiming for Niamey. A special time section, longest so far, 526 kilometers. And what about the cars? Well, this was a close one. Schlesser, as always, pedal to the metal. Here's the buggy out in front, a familiar sight, but just look at how much dust it chucks up. Large rear tyres make it hell for anyone who's in pursuit. And of course, this Dakar, there have been plenty of those, including this man, Stefan Pederhansel in the Mega. Once again, a unique design, as is Schlesser's, the Mega, more used to life on ice than on sand. Today, the ultra-dry conditions seem to suit it down to the ground. Very light machine, very powerful, skips over the bumps. Pederhansel was out to do battle with Schlesser. It was the feature of the day. Well, twists and turns there were. The lead kept changing again and again. Nobody could predict how this one was going to finish. Out in front of them, however, this gentleman, Carlos Souza. Winner on the opening stage, said he was dramatically surprised. But his prediction, he said, to his sponsor had come true. And he was absolutely delighted then, as he was today. Again, a slightly unusual machine. Some help from Mitsubishi, and they'll be more than pleased to see him topping the day ahead of the Mega, which of course has a Mitsubishi engine. Slightly embarrassing for the Mitsus that Pederhansel built his own machine and seems to be beating them. So Sousa was to take the day, but who would finish behind him? It was Pederhansel. And then Shinazuka. Schlesser dropping away from the pace after his fight with Petter. Shino, ever reliable. And all importantly, leapfrogging Schlesser, which meant he kept his lead overall. 6 minutes and 15 seconds. Shinazuka well pleased with his day's work, particularly as it was a tough one, very, very long indeed. The buggies going very well. This, the number 2 car, Jose Maria Servia, 5th today behind Schlesser. They virtually came in together. Weird looking cars, but absolutely perfectly suited to this sort of terrain. And what about Fontenay? Well, 6th today for the Mitsubishi man. Frenchman 4th in the overall standings. And as with so many, it was a mixed affair. One of lost tracks and high-speed recovery. Jutta Kleinschmidt. She's had air intake trouble throughout this rally. As you can see, they put a mesh on the front to stop her having to get out constantly to pull grass from the radiator grill. Overheating has been a difficulty, but a light wind today, cool temperatures, and overheating seem to be the least of people's worries. Delaverne on the Nissan, 1450 off the pace today. And making pictures as he gets lost. So many had done before him. Well, 115 cars started on this day, some of them wishing they hadn't bothered. It got slippy out there as the loose top surface broke up, and if you were following once again, it was a throat full of dust.
Mets-toi à droite, mets-toi à droite, mets-toi à droite. Ouais, attends.
Engine down.
Crevaison, ça arrive, mais au bon moment. Bah écoutez,
Work to be done.
on change la roue. Faut pas aller trop vite, on est très chargé en essence. Là, on a crevé.
Speed,
donc on est calme.
as ever,
On va prendre son temps pour
of
changer
the
la roue.
essence.
En espérant qu'il n'y ait pas trop de concurrents. Bah d'ailleurs, il faut pomper. Quand on dit que le sport auto...
Keep pumping, he says. We've got to get up.
Je peux vous dire qu'avec mon jeune âge, c'est dommage, on a bien marché parce que... Ah, si voilà une voiture.
Philippe
Il y a
Wamberg
2 minutes, donc on avait déjà
and
mis
his
un petit peu de
Nissan.
temps.
You have to take your hat off to these people. As others stream past, focus maintained. The locals, once again, waving us through. Some a little frightened by the helicopter. Nothing to fear.
J'espère que le médecin va se ranger vite fait.
The crowds have been superbly behaved throughout this Dakar, steering clear of the passing vehicles. And of course, the organisers making sure the competitors take it easy through villages. There are speed guns, and should you get caught, you will be penalised 30 minutes, and that in this race is a heavy fine. And so stage 6 finished like this. Sousa, his second stage win, finishing in 5 hours 46.02, a long time in a hot seat. Peter Hansel second, a minute and 49 behind. Shinezuka 3:53 off the pace ahead of Schlesser and Serbia. It's Shino who tops the pile. So glad he overtook Schlesser, who trails him by 6 minutes and 15 seconds. Peter Hansel close at hand. Well, Peter Hansel saying it's a very large stage, the longest of the rally so far. Around 530 kilometers of special in all. Nothing like yesterday. Many villages, he says. A lot of navigation, turning left and right, a lot of speed traps. It's hard to stay on course. First part, he said we caught up with Schlesser, overtook him.
On l'a doublé assez rapidement et on est resté en tête jusqu'à l'arrivée.
Swapped the lead a couple of times.
D'autres pilotes vont faire des meilleurs temps.
Maybe others are doing better than us, he said, with their times. But our aim was to control Schlesser, and that's exactly what we did today. Finished ahead of him. He eased off the gas somewhat, it seemed, finishing fourth. Second for Peter Hansel.
It's a start now.
Well, there are many strange sights on the Dakar, not least this. It's the buggy of Stefan Enrol. He's from Belgium and slightly off the wall. He's competed on bikes before. This machine is one to watch. Causes a smile wherever he goes. Hubert Oriol, race director, being explained by Stefan. But he's got mudguard problems. 3 days, he said, I've repaired it, and 3 days, it's broken off. And Hubert's reminding him that he has to keep repairing it because, he says, it's part of the rules. You can't have open wheels. So Stefan Enraad decides to adapt a support strut, attach it to the chassis. It's a case of looking for the right kind of tubing. He was going everywhere. Nobody seemed to have what he was looking for. Of course, it's what privateers have to put up with. What do you think, he says? I've been told someone called Patrick at Mitsubishi can help me. Try over there, he says. He's got short hair. So, on the Dakar, not much of a help. Well, this man's got short hair. He's got plenty of pipes. Will any of them do? No. No, not what I'm looking for, he says. Why don't you take a taxi into town, he says, and see what they can do. He says they're not going to have the type of piping that I'm looking for. He says it's strange, but now I think I've found what I'm looking for, and it's Mitsubishi who helped me. A couple of years ago I was on the Dakar, and Shinazuka ran over my bike, he said. It looked like a banana. And maybe it's payback time. Well, it certainly was. They've adapted the machine. It's going well. And at the end, he says, thank you very much for the present. It's a souvenir from Shinazuka, he said, to pay me back for 1997. They didn't charge me for this. It's normally 450 French francs a meter, this stuff. That's expensive. I didn't have to pay for it. And so, what about tomorrow? That is the big question. This is what stage 7 was supposed to be about. Presumably, we'll be keeping our fingers crossed that all goes well. Threat of terrorist attack hangs over the Dakar this evening. Let's just hope we can move onwards and upwards in Dakar 2000. Hope to have your company and hope we all stay safe and well.